Hailing all the way from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Thou is a band that feels impossible to categorize, weaving together elements of sludge, doom, grunge, and post-metal, just to name a few. Their sound is both sometimes crushingly heavy and always emotionally resonant. They're known for being prolific. They've released 6 full-length albums, several EPs that are pretty much the same length as full-length albums, and collaborations, including those with The Body, Ms. Moore, and Emma Ruth Rundell, and I'm sure many, many more to come. This not only showcases their commitment to exploring themselves sonically and to collaborations in general, but also the DIY ethos, and I got to experience that DIY ethos firsthand. They did not have to say yes to an interview with this random woman in Richmond, Virginia, and yet they did. The band consists of Andy Gibbs, Matthew Thuddiam, and Casey Stafford on guitar. And then we've got Mitch Wells, who's on bass, Brian Funk, who's on vocals, and Tyler Coburn, who's on drums. I got to sit down with Mitch and Brian, who came over to my house, and we had a great conversation. And later that night, I also was able to go to their show, check that out. I was very kindly gifted this 3-record pack, which includes my favorite album, Inconsolable. So many thanks for that, guys. I've been really enjoying it. And yeah, I don't know how else to express this, but although Thou is often seen as, or put into the box of being a metal band, what I experienced being around them and at that show was everything that I've ever loved about the punk ethos and the punk experience. It was joyous. I couldn't stop smiling the entire show. It was contact. It was remembering that, yeah, maybe it's not always about changing the world, but it's about being decent to one another, and that ripples out. So thank you guys so much. You've truly left quite an imprint on me, and I want to give a special shout out to Mitch's parents for the DIY shows back in the day. That rocks. So I hope you all enjoy this condensed version of the interview. The longer form will be available through WRIR, the local indie station, and on here after it has aired. I will post the air date in the description box as soon as possible. Without further ado, enjoy. I think the easiest place to start, first of all, thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with me.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for letting us do this.
It's about like just the formation of Thou, how you guys came together, and Thou the name. Like, why did you choose that name?
Thou started when I was in high school. I was a senior or junior. Matthew and Andy, the 2 guitar players, were in a band called Translation, which was like a metal band. I was in this like funk rock band called Groundview. Their keyboard player, who was like their bass player, quit. They asked me to come play because our 2 bands played a bunch of shows together at my parents' house. And they asked me to play bass. We did Translation for a little bit. That ended. Andy switched, he was playing drums, he switched to guitar, started Thou. A friend of mine in class played drums. I was like, let's get this guy to play drums. And we just started playing. And it was like 2 years, maybe 2 years, at least a year of not having a name. And we were like more of a post-rocky band. Matthew, who still plays guitar, was the singer. We did one little EP kind of thing that Brian calls a demo. You still call it that? You still say it's just a demo?
Yeah.
I was like,
It's on the CDR, it's a demo.
it's an EP. And then he heard it. We were in touch about some tour that was very silly.
I didn't hear that. I heard
What did you
songs
hear?
from Tyrant.
Oh, Tyrant.
There was like 3 songs from Tyrant with Matthew singing very sporadically on it.
Yeah.
On MySpace. That's what I heard. I had just moved back. This was like, for me it was 06, and I had just moved back to New Orleans from Oakland, and I was putting on shows at the time. I was basically looking for heavy bands to put on shows, and randomly found them on my. I don't know how I came across it. I don't know if it was like evident, right? Because I knew Andy from another band. He was in a band called 1,000 Eyes, 100 Eyes. 100
He
Eyes.
was?
Yeah, he was in 100 Eyes.
No.
Right?
We need to talk.
No, we need to talk 100 Eyes minus Matt Sexton, basically.
I thought. All right.
But
Sure.
yeah, so he was. I think I know from that other band and somehow got onto that album and liked it, but not the vocals.
Right. He didn't like Matthew's vocals, so he's like, y'all should kick that singer out and let me do vocals. Not knowing he was in the band.
Yeah, I didn't realize he played guitar, so I probably would have been a little bit more. Maybe not.
And we were like, well, let's give it a shot. And we did one practice, and we were like, all right, this is kind of cool.
No, what happened was they wanted to jump on a tour with Andy's other band, We Need to Talk. And because I had already opened the door about singing in the band, I was taking We Need to Talk out on tour. I was driving them.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So we just jumped in.
I was driving We Need to Talk. I put out their 7-inch. I booked like half the tour, and Andy was already gone, and so they were basically like, "Oh well, you that's what's saying. We Need to Talk's gonna take all of our gear anyway, so just be a couple more people in the van. We'll just jump on this tour. We'll try it out, see if it works. Blah blah blah." And that's more or less.
We did that practice where Terry forgot his cymbals before that was a thing.
We did do a practice where we tried it.
So it wasn't just to facilitate the tour. We were considering it anyway.
I think the only motivation from Val's point of view was to jump on the tour.
To get on the tour.
And I think because the practice was horrible.
It was
bad. So like I don't know why
our drummer forgot his cymbals.
Yeah.
So he was like banging toms the whole time.
So like I don't know why it would have been something where like, oh yeah, so this will work. But for whatever reason, I think they just really wanted to try to tour. They're like, yeah, let's do it. So come up to Baton Rouge and start practicing with us. So I started coming up to Baton Rouge, and at that point, the music for Tyrant was pretty much done, and Matthew recorded some vocals on that record, and then the engineer something went wrong with the file and supposedly lost all the vocal tracks. And they're like, well, come record some vocals on this thing we already recorded.
So we had that thing like right away.
Yeah, so we had a couple of like rough tracks of it for the tour, and then we had the thing, and we played a show. We played one show right before we left. We played at Northgate Tavern.
Yeah. Did you see I just found the flyer for that?
No. Was it good?
No.
Historical though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one.
What was the name on the poster then?
Oh,
it was Thou. It was Thou.
At that point, it was Thou, but for a long time, it was Forever Death, like a jokey, dumb, funny name.
Yeah.
And then it was just our friend Eric Johns. One night, leaned over to I think Matthew and was like, "Y'all should call the band Thou." And we were like, "All right." We have no idea what to do it. What to call it.
Wow.
And he named it. I told him that, and he's like, I don't remember doing that. And I was like, Matthew swears that was you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's hilarious. So it was a really casual suggestion. You were like, that
couldn't be
great.
more casual.
I would not have joined Forever Death. That's 1,000%.
Yeah.
Like, what is the kind of like ethos behind how prolific you guys are?
What is behind that we're doing so much? Just awesome.
That's what's up.
Just awesome.
Just straight bang.
I think we just said yes to everything early on was the
For
main
better
thing.
or worse.
And then also early on, Matthew and Andy were much more motivated to just constantly be writing stuff, work on stuff. And then the momentum has just propelled us. And part of it too is we're all still interested in music. Is a big part. We all still like music and like writing music. So there's always like that.
Most of us.
So there's an inner push to like keep doing stuff and keep like sort of pushing the boundaries with the band. I think a big part of it. I mean, at least a little part of it is the ego of like having put out so much stuff. Now it's sort of like
it's cool.
Now it's like you can sort of flex on it a little bit.
Yeah.
I just
look at all this stuff that we've done.
I mean, definitely like
it's cool.
For me at the merch table, like it used to be like a fun thing to like band spread the stuff out across the table. And
that's the thing, we just came out with band spreading. When the band of the merch table spreads out too much stuff.
Yeah. But I liked having like a table just full of our records. I thought it was like, I thought it was, what's the word?
Cool.
It's not the word I'm looking for, but that'll do.
Yeah.
Absolutely rocks. And as far as like band spreading and in these spaces, you've done a lot of DIY shows, had DIY startup. how do you kind of balance out the DIY shows versus the festival shows and more of the like larger shows, I guess, in general that you've done, but still keeping a connection to the audience, which seems like a huge part of the album.
Just telling Jeff, our booking guy, hey, make sure you mix it up. I mean, for years it was mostly him. He's just booked for bands for years and years and years and knows everybody and knows all the spots.
We still book our own local stuff. And,
Yeah.
and like when we're talking about going to play Chicago, and Tyler knew it was Chicago, so he'll probably book the Chicago stuff. And you know, even with Jeff, it's like, well, if this person, we want this person to do the show or that person to do the show. You know,
If we know a spot where we're
Right.
like, this person is going to put on a good show at a cool place.
So we kind of take a heavy hand with that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's a balancing act. I don't know if we're doing a great job of it currently, but
There's playing the Warehouse tonight.
I sort of beat my head against the wall for 20 years putting on punk shows in New Orleans, trying to eke out artist-centric community DIY thing, and never really got what I wanted. And now that I have a record shop in town, it's way more of what I wanted. I kind of wish I'd been doing something.
You're just like the hub for that. Is the
Well,
thing.
just being reliant on other people in order to accomplish something, I think is just, at least for me in New Orleans, a zero-sum game. You can just keep pushing and pushing and burning. Like, you can't make it happen. It's either going to happen on its own or it's not. For me, I find in order to be somewhat satisfied, I have to find the things where I can just do it without being reliant on other people for the satisfaction. And that's why, like with the band, I kind of always come back to writing the songs and recording songs. That part for me, it's just the five of us, 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or however many of us. That's all it takes to get that done. That's a lot more manageable than, okay, you play a show and now I'm expecting, 10 or 20 or 50 or however many people dance around. That's maybe an unrealistic expectation, whereas writing and recording music is something that's a little bit more attainable. It's in my grasp.
I booked tons of shows at my parents' house in high school, and that became like a thing, and that was always fun. It became a spot that all our friends' bands wanted to play, and then they heard about it, and and that was my introduction to sort of that thing. Those bands taking that sort of like fun approach to, we're doing this for fun, nobody's making money off this or anything, and seeing some bands take that a little bit further has been cool. There is stuff still happening. There are young kids still playing house shows that, like, we're, young kids bands that we play shows with. Like, there is stuff still going on. That reach that stuff didn't go away. It's still there.
This stuff will never go away. I mean,
Right.
My point is that the thing I want the thing to be is a hard thing to make, and it's also a hard thing to ask of people, and I think especially in the 2024, 2025 times, everybody wants every little thing they do to be compensated. Yeah, it's hard the mentality of like just doing something for the sake of doing it, and your compensation is the pleasure of doing it. That is a hard pill for
back.
some young and old people to swallow. They do not like that. So like,
just do the thing for fun, because it's fun to do.
Or it might not be fun. It might not,
Help your friends have fun.
Putting on shows is not fun. Putting on shows sucks. You know what I mean? That's why I stopped doing it. But like,
because you weren't getting paid.
I wasn't getting paid.
When people didn't know who we were, heard the music first, and then we would show up kind of looking like we do, having the merch that we do, and going, I'm already kind of on board with the music. Now I'm getting to know who they are with these political views, with this take on race or gender. Okay, now I'm learning who they are. That, I think, was a bigger shift than like now.
In terms of umbilical, I haven't seen any change in a perspective on our band. Yeah, I think at this point, which direction we're going in is fairly well established.
Right.
I also still make an effort these days when we go on tour to like invite certain people to come table our shows, or like the Louisville show we just played, Bloomington ABC, it was like a zine distro came and tabled, and Radical zine distro, and the West Coast tour, PM Press came out for a handful of shows. We make it a point. Funny enough, I grew up being a huge fan of the band Avail that's from here, one of my favorite bands ever, one of my favorite hardcore bands ever. They a lot of times would have Anti-Racist Action or Food Not Bombs tabling at their shows in whatever city they were. So like that made a huge impact on me. And then also like when I first joined Thou, I was heavily involved with the Iron Rail Info Shop in Orange, like an anarchist collective, tabling shows and stuff. So I would bring that stuff, or I'd get somebody from Iron Rail to come table our shows.
I was coming out the bathroom here and walking by the merch table when I saw him sitting there, and I've never met him before, but I looked at him and I was just like, oh shit, that's Brian, that's from Thou. And I was like, I was like, hey man, how's it going? He's like, going like this, just sitting here. And I was like, yo, you don't know me, but I love you so much. And he was like, cool, thank you. And it, like that's how it always goes when you meet like some of your like, the people who have been singing your pain and your feelings, and making the music and the art that you turn to. For years, I've been listening to Thou for a third of my life.
Yeah.
And so getting the opportunity to see them multiple times in a year, and I used to live in New York. I saw them play at ABC No Rio in the Lower East Side. So I've seen them play over the years, and they never change. They're just always for us. I'm super partial to Heathen.
Nice.
Which I think is kind of the easy answer. But I feel like with that record, they really kind of went from being like, if you know Thou and you love Thou, then they're a band for you, which they were for me. But then with Heathen, it was just kind of like, and we're the best, like, sludge, doom, whatever band in the world. And yet, still so DIY, still so punk, still so like down with everything that matters to us. And they've always been that way. And I just respect the hell out of them. I mentioned before, like I lived in New York when Heathen came out, and that was great for like long subway rides where you were just like, I'm going to fucking work. And, like, you just listen to like Ode to Physical Pain, and you're just like, that was because I don't know, I hate being underground. And underground every day to get to work.
Yeah.
Like that was like my armor.
That was the first record I think we did where definitely me and maybe everybody else sort of felt like, oh, we made a good record. This is good.
There's definitely that kind of shift, but I think with Summit there was also a shift for me because that one was first released by Southern Lord. Not necessarily a big deal to me. I didn't know the label very well, but Matthew and Andy were big fans of, and that felt like, oh, we're at like this is a new level for us as a band. That to me was like an initial shift of, okay, we put out some stuff, which is cool. Now here's people really noticing, which felt good. And it wasn't like, we're quitting our jobs or anything, but it was, oh, this is a cool thing where people know who we are now and are like appreciating it a little bit more. Maybe selfishly just felt cool, felt good. But then yes, artistically, that one was, oh, now internally, this is a new thing for us.
And the Biblical does feel like a different record. It feels in some ways like louder, faster, noisier. And it also feels like a really intimate album. And
It's because he's talking shit about us the whole time.
that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
I've
Heard that too.
heard that it is like an expression of your relationships as a band.
Have you figured out which songs are about you? Or?
I was curious.
Yeah.
Which one is about you?
I can't talk about it.
Dang.
I can't talk about it. But yeah, we all know which ones are about us. We got together one night without him, and we're like, all right, what is this? What do y'all think this means? And we figured it out. And we are working on a Retaliation disc record ourselves. It's gonna feel real good when we do it. The original Thou. We're getting Terry back.
Call No Brian happy.
Yeah.
Until he is dead.
Until he is dead.
It's not really
Sort
a diss
of.
on individual people in the band. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just really a critique of the band itself.
But what's funny is that, thinking about it, the critique of the band, the way that I'm reading some of it, the critique of the band, in doing this record, sort of ideally was going to solve a lot of the critique of the band, which is like a funny thing to me. It was supposed to. I don't know if it's worked out exactly yet. We're kind of figuring that out now.
Yeah, umbilical's kind of a hard one to answer because usually going into the record, I have a pretty clear idea of for something for it, and that one we didn't. I mean, we just took so long to write it, and I think even finding the sound for that record was hard, and getting through the songs was kind of hard for us, and the art was the same way. I was really back and forth about a lot of stuff.
You pitched some stuff to us. We were like, oh, maybe not that. We had some alt ideas in the beginning.
There's an image that's in the on the inner sleeve that was originally going to be the cover, and then the cover that we have was going to be in the sleeve, and like at the very last, I think I'd even turned it into Sacred Bones, and at the very last second, I think I was looking at it with our friend Mike Jones, who helped me out with a lot of the design stuff. We were looking at it together, and he's like, oh, that could be a cool cover. And I was like, I'm looking, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the cover. This image, not this one. But I mean, yeah, even that stuff. I mean, I ripped all that stuff out of an old suicide prevention pamphlet from like the 60s or 70s that I randomly found at an estate sale, pretty close to when we needed art, and it just kind of, the images sort of like resonated with the vibe and the theme of the record, so it just kind of worked out at the last minute. People ask us who the people are a lot. They ask that, but I don't. There's no information.
Make something up.
There's not even
Make it up.
There's not even a photography credit in the little pamphlet or anything.
Come out to Metairie. Check the estate sales. All right, we got Tyler. He's the most rambunctious, talented drummer we've had. Let's write stuff for him to cut loose. Let's just have a fun record where he gets to do his thing and is not just like slowly banging away. And that was the nugget of the kernel of the idea. And then from there it was, all right, fast, fun stuff. What does that sound like? Oh, maybe we can make really gnarly sounding, like raw, hard to tell kind of what you're hearing at some parts, was an initial idea. And then we were like, we didn't quite hit it. And it ended up being what it was, but it's still fine to have that guiding
that's
light.
The template of Thou, though, is to have a very ambitious, extreme idea for something, and then it just sort of gets, it just gets chipped away because it gets run through our sort of system, what we want something to be, and also the fact that we absolutely write our songs in the practice space, and they sound like the way we play them. I felt like all of our, like the advancement with the band, the same way it is with how we push our style or the sound of Thou, is incremental, and I think any like improvement or external acknowledgement of the band or whatever has been very incremental, and I think that's, for us, honestly been very lucky that we were like that. So, because I think there's definitely the impulse within people in this band to sort of get a big head about things or get a little bit of an ego about things, and I think that definitely the sort of slow burn of things has kept us as people in check.
Yeah, I think it helps with longevity too, for whatever reason. Because there's so many bands in this genre that I see, oh my God, this band's huge all of a sudden. And they do a record or two and then
they're gone.
Never hear from them
and again. Then you forget about them. You couldn't even remember who the band was.
And I'm not necessarily saying we're leaving some big impact, but we've been around this long.
For the success that we've enjoyed and the opportunities we've had, I feel like this path has definitely been better. And I think,
but we don't know the other way too, so it could be way better. Just be like super
probably
famous
more fun,
and
probably
popular.
Better, make a bunch of money and then be done with it by now.
That could have been awesome. We slept on like a floor last night, so I guess there's give and take. I would love to get back to that place where we were just in the practice space all night to like 3 a.m. That was like the best time ever. You're just like
working on music
for fun. You got ideas. You just hang out. Oh, take a break. Go get some food. Come at midnight. Come back. Just work, jam and play. And
for just the pleasure.
Yeah.
Like when I joined the band,
it was fun.
There wasn't ambitions to like put out records or do tours and stuff, and it just so happened that
you changed all of that.
Well, it just so happened that when I joined, there was a record, and so we got a record. We got Tiring Out, and I had toured, and even our first tours, by my standards, like wildly successful.
Pretty great.
That just opened up some possibilities for us, and then we got asked to do more and more things, and we just kept saying yes. So just then the impetus to do stuff changed. It wasn't like, oh, we're just writing stuff to just write. It was, oh, we got to do this split with Black September. We got to write a track,
need a song for it.
Yeah. So now we have to write for it, or we want to do this other thing. We got to write for it.
We keep joking about going back to, or calling it the year of yes. Hey, I want to do a clap. Any old Mike Taylor. Yesterday we were talking about, he's in Pick Me Lush and Page 99 and booked the show that we played last night. We were talking about shows and fests and stuff, and he kept saying people don't understand that Thou is a DIY punk band. They're booking y'all as like a metal band, so that's not what y'all are. You're like a DIY punk band who just looks and sounds like a metal band. I was like, yeah, I get that's right. That's right. But we do play this kind of music. I mean, it is like metally sounding, heavy, riffy music.
They make earth-shatteringly good, artistically like meritful music, and they're also just like good folks.